For the second assignment, we're going to let you practice some output routines, simple output routines, printing out variables and strings of text. So I'm going to have you open up a new project assignment in BlueJ and create a new class named Weather. So let's go through that. I'm going to close out some of these stuff in BlueJ. Oops, I closed out too much. Run BlueJ. And it'll open up the last project I had open, but I want to make a new project. So click on this and choose new project, and I'm going to call this assignment 2 or something like that. Assignment 2 weather. I'm going to call it recorded because I have a couple different, I already have an assignment 2 start and assignment 2 done here. So here's my initial object. I'm going to create a new class and call it weather. Okay, there's my weather class. Now let's go back to my instructions, see what I said. Okay, create a new class named weather. I just did that, good. Delete all the Java code in the weather class and paste the following code into it. So I'm going to let's see if I can grab the right amount of code here and copy and paste that in there. So I've copied that. Now open up this weather class. I'm going to delete this or close this other weather class so I don't have to have it in my. Okay, go to a weather class, double click on it. I'm going to highlight everything and hit delete and hit paste to paste in the new code in here. And I am going to compile it, make sure it compiles. Now if you didn't grab everything, for example, if I missed that last parenthesis or whatever, it'll give me an error. So make sure you do that, double check when you copy and paste. If you get an error, you may want to just copy and paste it again. If you copy and paste everything in here, it should compile without any errors. So I'm going to make sure I compile it before I make any changes so I know I got it all in here correctly. So now I can run this. I can go back here and say run main, or if I install the main extension I can do that, but I'm just going to do this and hit OK. And then it opens up the terminal window and just says today's current weather conditions, and it doesn't display anything. Now later on we'll be working with apps, an app for current weather conditions. So we actually have a smartphone Android app class where we actually do create an app for this that grabs the weather from the National Weather Service or a similar weather service and displays it on a cell phone. Along with I think lots of other people, have little apps on their cell phones for the weather. It shows the current weather and the prediction for the next couple days. But we're actually going to do this in this class. We're not going to do it for a smartphone. We're just going to do it for a normal extension. But that gets a little more complicated to read the weather in from a weather service over the internet and then sort out the text that's returned and display it nicely. So when we do that, we'll end up with a couple variables that'll hold things like the current temperature and the today's high and low temperature and wind speed. So for now, we're just going to assume that that was done for us and that we just have these 4 variables that have been read in with the current weather conditions. And if you want, you can change those to what you think is the current weather conditions. This is not bad for today's weather here. So I've got these current weather conditions, these variables set already in my program, rather than reading them in from a weather service. But that'll work out fine. Now I want to print out something. So what am I going to print out? Modify the code so it says this. So it already says this part, today's weather condition is, and then I want to say the current temperature is 62 Fahrenheit. Now you might think, oh, I can just copy and paste that in here and do add your code here, system dot out dot print line quote, and then paste in that text. The current temperature is 62F, and then compile that. And then when I run my program, let's see if I can get this back here. When I run my main program, oops, there was an error here. Yeah. Didn't even notice that. Okay, try to compile again. Let's see, and it's giving me an error here where I put a period, it didn't put a period, put a comma, compile. So again, it's good to go in, do small changes, and compile after each time, make sure you get everything right. So, okay, compiled class, no syntax errors. Now I can run the main again. And it says today's weather condition and the current temperature are. I'm going to clear this and again run this again. So it says that. So that's getting close to this. So you might think that's okay. That's, I want to say today's weather condition, the current temperature is this. But I'm not using my variable. I want to print out this using the current temperature variable so that if the current temperature changes, so if the current temperature got warmer and was 76 degrees, and now I ran this, it should say 76 degrees, but now it won't. It'll still say 62 because I'm not printing out my variable. So when you do this stuff, make sure you're just not saying the current temperature is 62. Here, you want to make sure you are printing out the current temperature variable. So I'm printing out a string, the current temperature is, and I'm using the plus to concatenate, add on the current temperature variable. And then I'm also printing out this F at the end. So let's compile this. Cannot find temperature, current temperature. Make sure I'm spelling things correctly. All right, no errors. Now run this. And here it says, I'm going to clear this and do it again so it's easier to see. Okay, today's current weather conditions and the current temperature is 76F. So now it is using the variable, the current temperature variable here. Now there's some spacing issues, so I'll have to fix that, and I'll have to do the rest. So your job is to do this. Your final result should say today's temperature, weather conditions, and it already does that. But you have to add these 3 lines to print out the current temperature. And again, watch your spacing around it and make sure this is using this current temperature variable. The current wind speed is, and you should be printing out the wind speed there. And then MPH after that, and the high temperature was and the low temperature was, and print out the high and the low temperature. So again, this program should work no matter, when we run it, we will change these variables to different values and run it, and it should display whatever variables we set here. So when you're done, we want you to submit the project. Since there is just one weather file you change, you can either just submit the weather.java file or zip up the whole project and submit that. Either one will work in this case because we're just working with the one file you changed.